Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, and it's not Taco Tuesday. It's Teague's Take Tuesday, and we're glad that you are joining the show. We got a good one for you guys tonight. Of course, you know we're going to have our guest in tonight. Last week we didn't have Jada on with us, but we still going to have JT, who's going to be a co-host with us. You know he is the analytical one. And we also have Consuelo back with us tonight. The Brains, she is here with us tonight. So we look forward to this. And then a little bit later, we'll introduce our special guest. But we got a few things that we're going to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit of track and field tonight. Talk about the European Super League. And, man, how did they mess it up? Where did they go wrong? And then let's talk about these NFL jersey numbers, the rule change that they have. But first, let me go ahead and start with our run out. I posed to you guys a little bit earlier this week via social media about what is more exciting to watch, the 4x100 relay or the 4x400 relay. Having coached track, actually, at one point in time early in my career, also being a football coach right now, you know, I really push our guys to be able to go into track and run. And these are two of the favorite or the most anticipated events, particularly in high school, as you continue to go. And they're a little bit different, right? So the 4x1 happens early in the meet. There's a whole lot of anticipation, especially, like I said, if you're a coach or something like that, because it's really just about pure speed, guys getting after it. And by the way, I did run 4x1 in high school. I don't know if JT knew that. I don't know if we ever talked about that or not. But, you know, there's a little bit of difference because there's not a whole lot of strategy once the gun actually starts. But it is very difficult to try to execute that part of the race very smoothly, right? You have to talk about – I think it's just a little bit under appreciated on what they actually have to do. You have to get the handoffs in the zones. They change a little bit depending on the level. And our guests will probably talk about that a little bit more. The timing of the handoffs are super important. Where you getting the handoffs in the zone that I'm referring to. And as you get into Olympic levels, like, you know, where Lillie Leatherwood ran into, people were speaking different languages, right? And so you got to be able to understand and know who's saying what, when, especially when it's crowded. Like that. Now, the 4x4 is the last event of the race of the meets, and typically they're action-packed as well, right? They're quite different than the 4x1. There's a lot of strategy involved in it. Coaches really got to understand, you know, who can close gaps, what's the best leg, and I don't necessarily know all of those. Maybe we'll get some of that. There are lead changes in it. And one of the things while I was watching Lillie and their Olympic run was she ran the first leg, and that second leg, when they get the thing, being able to close down the end, man, if you're out in the eighth lane, it's a long way to try to get back down there into the first lane. So there's a lot of strategy in that. And I don't know if you guys have seen how these men and women look after the 4x4, but that lactic acid hits the dry mouth. It's like zombie land after they run that quarter. So I'll pose to you again, which one is more exciting, the 4x4 or the 4x1? My answer is I think the 4x4 is more exciting because of all the strategy involved and the pain and the hurt and things of that nature. The 4x1 is definitely more intense. It's very fast. It's very hard-nosed. There's a lot of different kind of excitement in that, but I'm going to go with the 4x4 as my favorite race.
What do you say, JT?
I'm not sure. I agree. They're both exciting, and I'm just thinking about my time at watching the Drake relays.
Mm-hmm.
It's always you're always looking at the anchor in both races anyway.
They're gonna go get
And,
him.
you know, it might be the quickest 9 seconds or it might be the quickest, 47 seconds.
47, 45, 46.
So, I don't know.
Well, let's see what our guest has to say about it. I'd like to welcome in Lillie Leatherwood right now. She competed in the 1984 Summer Olympics in L.A. Her relay team actually won the gold medal there. She also won a silver medal in the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul. She is from Tuscaloosa. She attended the University of Alabama. So I got to go ahead and say, roll tide, baby, roll tide. She's a, yes, you can say that anytime you want during the show. 3-time national champion, 10-time All-American, still holds the UA school record in the 200 and 400 meter races. Welcome, Lillie. Thank you for being on with us this evening.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. So tell me where I went wrong with or maybe what I missed in the differences in these two relays.
Well, of course, I run the 4x400, but as a athlete, of course, I love the 4x1 because it's nice and short. But of course, but it was a little too short for me. But in the 4x1, you have so much that can go wrong, so many things. Because like you said, like you were saying, you got to get those handouts right. You run out of zone, you disqualified, and oftentimes you see that happen. And there's so much involved, or they drop the baton, and it's not as tricky in the 4x4. I mean, because you can kind of handouts a lot easier. And then of course the 4x4, like I said, is a lot harder because you have to have that speed and you need the endurance. And using, in fact, we had so I got a story I want to tell because we talk about the 4x4. I mean, in fact, my senior year, we were down at the NCAA, and we were at LSU, and in there we had like four girls, and we were up to win the NCAA championship. And usually, as you said, at 4x4, you don't think of a lot of people having problems with the handouts, but apparently, and so we won, anyway, we win the race, we had won, and we thought that we had won the NCAA title. So then when they posted the results, of course, we were disqualified.
DQ'd?
And they said, and apparently said that our third leg had their foot on the line, had the foot on the line. And that's just something you don't hardly see that often at a 4x4. But there we were, all seniors, all excited, thinking we would have been great to have that NCAA, a great way to end a career, basically, to win. But like I said, but usually, and that happened to be in the 4x4.
Oh my
But
gosh.
normally, like I said, but I love the 4x4 though, and you just have to be strong and have the speed and the strong. And I'm just thankful. Luckily, I had both because basically they run that 400 like it's a 200 now. It's an all-out sprint. So fortunate enough, I was able to have all of that.
Yeah. Now I don't even know what those. I know all the tracks are the same size, so they're supposed to be anyway. But when you
They're
see
not,
those,
that's the problem.
when you see that Olympic track, man, it just looked like it is just gigantic. You know, and you're
Yeah. Well,
outside.
when you, sorry, the thing when you're down there on it, like you said, and I was thinking about, like you said, that lane 8. And of course, that's a lane that nobody wants. I mean, you're out because you feel like you're running an open 400 and you can't see anybody, and you always kind of want to see someone. And so you have to get out because the way it's staggered, and if you see anybody, actually that means basically they're ahead of you, basically the way they're staggered. So and all this very, like I said, very important. Like I said, they do all look huge, but it's very the lane 8 that we had. Yeah, it's a difficult lane to run in.
Well, let me show you what that looks like when people don't break your stagger and you're in lane 8. I believe we have some video of you running the first leg of those
Oh wow!
championships, and it's amazing to see. Especially, you didn't have anyone in lane 7 right next to you.
Right.
So, did it feel like you were like a mile ahead of everybody at the beginning? And uh,
It like I said, I just kind of stayed focused because I knew, I have to get out, and I got to stay out front, basically, because that's the only way we're going to have a lead because because they close the gap, like, so that means you're behind. So, and I just, and I, I just focused on. I got out and I stayed strong. So, and I think, of course, and I think it went well.
Can
I
can
would say
you
so.
can you tell me
Yes, it went
how?
well. I think we came in a good position.
I mean, look at this. This is, and we're only going to show the first leg of this, but I don't think anybody made up any ground on you, and then you set the tone for the whole race after that.
And that's what you need. Yeah, you have to go out and try to keep that lead, and like you said, and you need somebody quick on that second leg to kind of get in there and keep it and cut down, like you said, to break that stagger and to cut down and advance on. And so we had good legs all the way through, and it was a great race because we ended up running an Olympic record actually during that time.
That's right. That's right.
Can you tell me how the lane assignments work? How you get placed in a certain lane, and how is it that you can have an empty lane such as 7? I mean, it seems like if you've only got 7 teams in the race, and you're in lane 8, and everybody hates to be in lane 8, how come they can't just bump you down into 7? Or sometimes I've seen even lane 1 being empty.
Well, that is pretty much a draw, and I don't know, maybe I think something happened. I don't know who was in lane 7, and they end up stretching or something, or got hurt or something. But normally it's a draw, and you don't have a choice. And once they draw it, that's the way it is, I guess. To try to make it fair to everyone.
So, do you have a favorite lane? Is it 4?
Of course, yeah, 4 or 5, you just kind of want to be in that center because you don't want to be way back there in one area. Like I said, because you feel like everybody you way behind out there, actually in 1 or 2. So yeah, you want to be in the center of the track, and that's the best position you want to try to be. And a lot of times they just draw lanes, and a lot of times you just don't have a choice.
I think Consuela has a Facebook question for you.
Yes, I have a Facebook question from Craig Young, and he wants to know, Lillie, do you think you could run like you did in your heydays today?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I run constantly now, but now it's a little more slower and a little farther. I did a lot of speed work back then, so I just do mileage now, and of course, it's for the fun of it, just to stay in shape. So I don't have all that speed anymore. But of
Yeah.
course, I'm not doing speed workouts anymore at this time.
Well, her mile is probably 5.5 minutes or something like that. Even at this age
So
or
it's
whatever.
still
Well, it
faster than
used
my
to be that.
mile.
Now I toned it down to about 7 or 8 now. Trying to do
It's
3 or
still
4.
faster than
At
mine.
one point in time, it was like that.
7 is still pretty doggone good. I
Absolutely.
had a goal of just trying to get to 7.5 or 7:45, and
Young man
What I've been
who's like
doing now,
28, what is your time that you try to do a mile?
When I had to do miles, it was whatever they said I need to make it in.
oh gosh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, all the accomplishments you've had, and you've been in indoor and outdoor championships, things of that nature. And I want to, our family wants to say congratulations to you for being inducted into the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. That will happen on May the 8th in Birmingham, Alabama. I am pleased to know that I'll be standing close by you. But I wanted to ask you about this because I don't know what they did when they gave you the call, right? So did they just, when they called you and said that you were being inducted, was it just, hey, we want you to know this? Did they play any jokes on you? What did they do when they actually called you and told you were being inducted?
I mean, I just got the call, and it's like, well, you get inducted into the nominated, and you get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, I'm just thrilled beyond words because, that's a dream come true, and that's a legacy that will live on, and I'm just so excited because, like I said, my son, and that's something he can have and pass on from generation to generation. So I'm just so honored to receive such a prestigious award. But they just called me, and I was just shocked.
Yes. Well, I have to tell you, and I hadn't decided if I'm gonna put this in my little 3-minute speech or whatever they let us have. But so when they called me, so I'm from Montgomery. I know you're from Tuscaloosa, so we weren't that far. They were actually kidding around with me and told me that I was going to be inducted into the Wetumpka Hall of
Oh.
Fame.
Yeah.
And they kept asking me, "Aren't you from Wetumpka? Didn't you play football over in Wetumpka and all this?" And I'm like, "Man, what is this? Am I like on Candid Camera or something?" I was like, what are y'all doing?" I almost hung up on the people and whatnot. And,
Wow. No.
then they finally told me, like, "No, all right, we'll get serious." So someone must have told them that I was like to joke and like to laugh or something. So I felt like I was on a funny soap opera there. But I'm really looking forward to it. Coming in and seeing you there. I know this is the first time we have met and spoke, other than through contacting and try to get on this thing. But we look forward to seeing you. I guess that's just a couple weeks away, man.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Lily, Craig has another question for you, and he wants to know whether or not you have ran a marathon before.
No, I have not ran a marathon. Marathon is just a little way too far for me. I try to think. I think the most I've ran probably once is like 6 miles because I'm a I ran a 200 and the 400. I'm a sprinter as well as a distance, but not that type of distance. No, that's definitely too far.
Yeah. So you're 1-2-4. Did you ever have to run the 800?
And I ran it a couple of times, and that was getting to be too far. I ran a few times just to work on my 400 because you want to be strong to run that 400. So I gave it a try a few times, but didn't like it.
Ooh, the 800
No.
is punishment.
No.
That's
No,
what
the
I use it
400
for.
is
Worse
business
pain than the 400.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So thankfully, we had some really good 400 runners. The twins, the Joe and I forget what his name was in high school. I'm glad they were very, very fast in the quarter, so I didn't have to run that in high school. And I wasn't as fast as I was. I wasn't fast enough to run track in college because that track speed is a different speed than football speed. I don't care what people say. It's different.
Did I tell you that I had gotten our 4x4 team scratched from a meet one time?
On purpose?
Yeah, technically. I mean, they came and asked me if I'd run the 4x4, and I was like, no, I'm not. So they didn't have enough people to run.
You are not really saying this to me right
I
now.
know. Why
I
we gonna
wasn't
be
running-
mad?
I wasn't finna get out there and get embarrassed.
Oh man, you would have did fine. You would have toughed it out. It made you.
And then they would have been all upset.
Do you remember your sister when she got out there and ran and she was
Doing jumping hurdles and stuff after the race. That's how I know she didn't run. She didn't try her
JT was
hardest.
so upset with her.
Yeah. Well, another thing that Lily has done, and she was the first female Olympic gold medalist to come out of the University of Alabama.
Wow.
That's amazing. So, and I want you to know this, Lily. So I'd actually contacted her back in, it might have been January after they first told us that we were going in the deal because I wanted to get her on in February for Black History Month. Her being a first. That was our theme back in February. I didn't tell you that, but that was kind of our theme. We were trying to find people who had did things at first. And then I couldn't get her in March, which was the women's
Month.
the women's month. Huh?
Women's history.
Yeah, women's history. So we're again thankful that you're here for that. But did you know that when you did that, did anyone really tell you what you had accomplished, or did you set that out? Was it something you were trying to shoot for to do?
No, not at all. I didn't know until, like I said, they started putting it out in the media. But and another thing a lot of people don't know about me, like I say, even when I ran track, I only started running my junior year in high school.
Wow.
And then that was kind of almost a spur of a moment thing because I had an older sister and she came home and told me she had joined the track team. So of course I wanted to follow my older sister, and that's how I ended up running and running track. Then my senior year, I pulled my hamstring, and the coach, I'm limping around the track, still trying to run, and I was thankful, but the University of Alabama still offered me a full scholarship to run track there, and everything just kind of happened so fast. Because then after my freshman year, there I am. My Coach Williams, come and told me, said, "Well, your time qualifies you to go to the Olympic trials." So, and I am like, really? What? So there I am getting on a plane to go to Los Angeles and never had even been out the state of Alabama, period, at all. And I'm going to Los Angeles like 19 years old, getting on a plane by myself to go to the Olympic trials. And so it just it's just amazing how things happen and how it all turned out. And so I say it's just been a wonderful blessing for me.
Man, that's awesome. You know, and what oftentimes when we have elite athletes like yourself come on here, I always try to get something about the mindset, you know, for our youth to really hear about. So, you know, what would you say to, or what kind of advice would you give to, you know, kids who are aspiring to do something like that, or maybe don't have all the resources that they may have and they want to accomplish new things?
I mean, the resource I think would become available is tell them to just stay with their dream, don't give up. Because a lot of things, I mean, it may get hard sometimes. I remember because there was times I thought about giving up because it was extremely hard, but I didn't. But I didn't give up. I just refocused my goals. I never changed my goals. I just refocused on my steps. I may have changed that, but I didn't change my goals. So don't give up. Cause here I was from a small town who never would imagine that I would made it as far that I did, and with my little means, but everything worked out, and everything became available that I needed. And there's so much help and support along the way, and there's plenty of support out there for them. So don't give up and think they can't accomplish something, because you can accomplish anything. You keep put your mind to it, and just stick with your goals and plans, no matter what.
Man, see, so what I'm hearing is never, ever, ever give up. And when things might
Yeah.
get in the way, you just got to push on through it.
Yes.
And so, let's talk about what you're doing now, because I know I want to say thank you for the service. You're not in the police department anymore, correct? Is that
That's
right?
correct.
Yes.
Correct. I Yeah, retired here recently, just January this year. Beginning of the year, I retired. And right now, I'm just kind of enjoying and not doing a whole lot. Just spending time with my family. My son's getting ready to graduate high school, and then my mom doing a lot of things with her. So just kind of taking it easy. But I would like to kind of get back into, maybe I do a little coaching, and I still want to be involved with working with children, because that always was a big focus of mine. And then I enjoy working with the Special Olympics. That was something I've done even when I served as law enforcement for the law enforcement torch run several years, raising awareness and raising funds for Special Olympic athletes, and carrying the torch for their opening ceremonies. And that's something I still would like to continue doing, because that's something really important I enjoy doing.
Yeah, well, you know, you said something to me earlier today, and this goes to show how small our world is, because I did not put it together at all until you said this. But me and Lily actually ran into each other a long time ago in Tuscaloosa,
Yeah.
Alabama. Right? Uh, Police Athletic League, man, that was you know, a big piece of what I was very interested in, still am very interested in. I think their program is amazing for what they do for underprivileged kids and giving them a safe place to, you know, be after school, and things of that nature, and allow them to be involved in activities, and particularly athletics. And so that was something that we supported with our charity basketball game for many years there in Tuscaloosa, just so we could give back to that. So what you're doing with these kids, whether it's Special Olympics or anything else, and raising money and trying to provide programs for them and bringing awareness to the needs to those communities, we're saying hats off again. You know,
And I'm going to say, Lily, do not hesitate to call on George.
Okay.
yep.
Appreciate that.
Yep. Now you heard Consuela speak. It is
Yeah.
since y'all bonded for the first 5 minutes before me and JT had any conversation. So we know how that is. Well, you guys can make sure you guys follow her. I know you're on Twitter and you do a little bit of stuff there, but are you on any other social media platforms, Facebook or?
Well, Facebook and Instagram as well.
Okay. So if you guys want to support or watch some of the things that she's doing, or just give her a shout out and give her a big roll tide, y'all can find her, I know, on Twitter at L Leatherwood, OLY, for Olympics. I know you can find her there on Twitter. I do not know the handles on Instagram or Facebook. You want to share those with us?
And well, they just put it in under my name. It's just on the Lillie Leatherwood.
Okay. Good. So y'all make sure y'all support her, and if any of those things touch your heart as well, make sure you find out what she's up to and what she's doing now. Thanks again, Lillie, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks in Birmingham. I just got my tux sized up and all that kind of stuff, so I'm gonna be looking sharp. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna be ready to go. I'm gonna get shaved up.
I am ready.
Yeah, this thing ready to go. So
I'm ready. I'm looking forward to seeing you all next week.
yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having me.
Yep, I appreciate it. Y'all give a round of applause to Lillie for being on. We're gonna take a very short break. Then we're gonna come back and talk about this European Super League, the fallout, and see what JT has to say about that with the JT Money Matters coming up next.
ProfoundSites.com for your personal and commercial needs. Websites built, repaired, secured, maintained, and found. Brent Thomas and ProfoundSites.com provide e-commerce development, website development, online marketing, web, mobile, and e-commerce consulting. With over 10 years experience, Profound Sites is responsible for creating GeorgeTeague.com, where you can hear Teague's Take with George Teague every week. Brent Thomas and Profound Sites can take you through the entire pain-free process of building your new website. From initial discussion to planning, design, to coding and making your site live and discoverable on the internet. Contact Brent Thomas at ProfoundSites.com or email him at Brent@ProfoundSites.com.
Welcome back to Teague's Take. Like I said, this is not Taco Tuesday. This is Teague's Take Tuesday. Thank you guys for staying up and being with us this evening. Man, that was a great segment we just had with Lillie Leatherwood, but we got some other stuff we got to talk about because I know I don't really talk to JT or talk about JT and his love and passion for other sports outside of football. So when he brought his Money Matters idea to us, I thought it was very interesting. And so we want to be able to talk about this a little bit, but I'm going to turn it over to JT real quick so he can talk about the European Super League and what they got going on.
Yeah, so this is about that may not happen. There were 12 teams across Europe that have decided that they were going to essentially leave the league that they were currently in. Those teams are AC Milan, Atletico Madrid, Arsenal, Barcelona, Chelsea, Inter Milan, Juventus, Liverpool, both of the Manchesters, Manchester City and United, Real Madrid, and Tottenham. They decided they were going to leave. They were going to start their own league, and they were looking for 3 other teams to join them. They invited Borussia Dortmund, which is in Germany, Bayern Munich, also in Germany, and PSG, which is my favorite team, which is in Paris, in France. And those 3 teams said no. And then once this news broke that they were going to cede, the soccer world at large was not happy. Even the fans of the teams that were going to create this league, very, very unhappy. There were many protests in the streets of England going to their teams' stadiums and facilities and holding up signs and chanting and whatnot to stop this. They all thought this was very, very bad for soccer at large. FIFA, which many of you probably just know from the video game, they also run the leagues. They are basically the NCAA of soccer. They are over the English league, the French league, the Spanish league, German league, and all the rest of those. And they also are the ones that put on the World Cup. So when FIFA got word of this, and UEFA, which is another kind of tournament, if we want to make analogies, it's like how ESPN actually owns the playoffs. That's not the NCAA's thing. UEFA they have their own tournament that the European teams play in, and it's a very prestigious tournament that everybody is trying to win. And these 12 teams were like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to do our own thing. FIFA said, okay, well, if you're going to do that, you are no longer allowed to play in your domestic leagues, which means for Manchester City, Liverpool, Manchester United, they were no longer going to be able to compete in England against the rest of the English teams. And since FIFA also holds international competitions such as the World Cup and the Olympics, they said if you join this league that if you are a player that plays for one of these teams in the Super League, you cannot represent your national team anymore, meaning you cannot play in the Olympics and you cannot go to the World Cup.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And UEFA has the Champions League, which is currently going on. There was a game today between Chelsea and Real Madrid, and PSG is playing Manchester City. They were going to basically kick those. There's 4 teams left. 3 of them said they were going to go to the Super League, and they were just going to kick them out. It was like, look, tournament's over. You guys are all disqualified. I guess they were just going to give PSG the trophy. PSG fans were pretty upset about that because they didn't want this would be our first win, but they didn't want to win it that way. But basically, I just kind of want to open up to you guys on what before I give my thoughts on what this is. Like, how do you think this was a good thing, bad thing? Don't really care. Don't really know.
I think it's a bold thing just to up and say we're going to go do our own thing. I mean, I guess the rich are always trying to get richer, or the good are trying to get better, and things of that nature. But not to have any calculation about what the fallout would be seems
Absolutely.
bad, or how you don't have any idea that there might be some type of revolt or whatever they had with, it's different when you're playing soccer, or football, or, they're passionate, man. These people pack their place. They're fighting, they're trampling people and all this kind of stuff. And for you not to even think about it seems crazy. And I really tried to, listening to you talk about that, is really try to think about, well, what would it be like for the Dallas Cowboys, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 49ers, the Packers,
So we're leaving.
just to say, yeah, we're going to go over here and do our own thing.
Well, I think it's a little bit more analogous to college, right? Where you'd have, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, and just be like, we're done with the NCAA. We're going to create our own conference, and we're just going to play each other.
Well, then that's almost essentially what happened during this COVID year, right? I mean, where rules are coming out and teams were switching and all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, I guess you're right about that. I didn't think about it from the college standpoint. Not that hard, but the same big schools that are always going to playoffs. If you're trying to make this 18 playoffs, going to be the same schools probably most of the time, or 12 or whatever it's going to be.
I have a quick question. Did you include Ohio in that?
Ohio
The one
State.
that played 6 games?
You mean the one that
Yeah,
also made it to the
But
championship?
it was 6 games. I'm
well.
just asking. We can proceed, but it was 6 games.
And they got a funny leaf. I don't know, that leaf on the side of the Buckeyes. I don't know what it is. I guess it's supposed to be a flower, right?
The Buckeye? It's a nut.
Yeah, guys, yeah, they nuts. They nuts, all right. I'm saying that for Too Cool Kid, who's an Ohio State fan, that's always giving me hell about stuff. So, what? I don't know, JT. I just don't think it was a good idea. I don't know that it could work. I guess I hadn't studied enough for that, but it just seems like trying to isolate yourself, and yeah, maybe there's a way to gain some more dollars. Maybe it's cutting edge, thinking of how the SEC started, playoff games or
I
bowl
think,
games.
the motivation behind it seemed, well, of course, it's always dollars driven, and there's other political business things that they want to do with it. But in a sense, they were like, hey, nobody wants to watch Liverpool, West Ham every week. What if we had Liverpool and Real Madrid and Liverpool and Barcelona? What if that was your slate of games every week? And they were like, oh, this is great. And of course, as Americans who don't really follow that and you just know the big teams, you're like, yeah, sure. I would love to see Alabama and Texas play every week. I don't care if they play Vanderbilt. Like, nobody's watching that game.
Yeah.
But what was that face?
Alabama and Texas every week? Seriously?
Yeah, nobody wants to play that.
Nobody wants to see that game.
Of course, they see y'all just snobs. You know, Texas is a multi-billion-dollar program that has a big brand around this, not just the state. You know, since ESPN did give them their own channel, you know, people do watch.
Okay, if you say so.
Y'all can't see me on the radio, but that's the yeah.
If you say so, I'm just saying Alabama and Texas, nobody is fighting to see that game.
All right, well, we'll say that. We'll see that when, you know, since they are playing next year. If y'all go to that game, I'm going to remember this and play the clip back and be like, oh, I thought you didn't want to.
Next year? We got Miami next year.
They got a home and home in 2022 and 2023, I believe.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But anyways.
I didn't say I wouldn't go to the game.
You didn't want to see it, so why would you go?
You get them
Why
off
would people
topic.
be fighting to go to the
You get them off topic.
It's,
I bet it sells out.
it's around the kitchen
Let's
table,
go,
remember?
I know.
So, this was definitely a misstep, but I also think this is the worst scenario for European soccer. They have a promotion relegation system, which I definitely think is the right way to do it, and I will try to convince you on why. But essentially, it's a meritocracy. If you suck, you get demoted. You got to go down a league, and if you're good, you get to go up. That simple. So teams that are
But the elitists ain't gonna want them to go up.
huh?
The elitists ain't gonna want the other guys to come
Well,
up.
that's the whole reason. That's the whole point of the Super League. They were going to do this. They were going to do this thing where like the 12 founding members could not get relegated, and they were going to add teams later, and they'd be like, okay, but you guys, like, we can kick you out if you're no good, but since we founded the thing, we're good no matter how bad we are. And everybody was like, no. The whole European dream here is that any club that is good enough, even if you start all the way at the bottom, much like Manchester City, you can get better and better and better and raise up through the ranks and become one of the best teams in Europe, which seems a little hypocritical of some of these teams because they used to be very, very bad and they had to work their way up. And now that they got here, they're like, oh, we're the best now. So
What I want to do is, because she's about to say something, I want to make sure that you put this on your bucket list for her or for me or something. Make sure you take your mom to a European soccer game. Take her overseas. Take her down to Mexico somewhere, Brazil, wherever, whatever your favorite team is. And make sure she really sees what that's going to be like to watch 100,000 fans play.
I'm glad you said
soccer
that
game.
because someone in our comments are saying that is soccer trying to make this a sport again by making this a big, by making this fuss against each other? Are they trying to bring the attention, the light back on to soccer again?
Yes, because they need to be making some more money too. There's some very talented dudes in there, and I don't know what the disparity is between the low end to the high end.
Oh,
on-
well, the
on
low end
salaries.
is the low end can be very low, right? 'Cause, I mean, you've got amateur teams in England, but I don't necessarily know what they mean by making it a sport again. Since Barcelona is worth $5 billion, these soccer teams, like it's most of the soccer teams, the Dallas Cowboys, and then everybody else. They're
They're worth a lot of money.
I mean, Kroenke, who does he? What NFL team does he own?
Kroenke? Got me.
He owns the Rams. That's he's the one that decided to move the Rams to Los Angeles. He also owns Arsenal. So you know how much money they're making.
Babe, did you say Kroenke?
Stan Kroenke.
Yeah.
And if Glenn's watching, I know he can't stand Stan Kroenke.
Yeah. Well, hey man, that's really, really good. I appreciate that, and for you guys that love the soccer stuff and all that, it was a great topic. It's really understand. It will be cool to see if it ends up
I don't think it's
something
gonna happen.
developing.
They pulled 9 teams pulled out already.
Well, that's a lot.
And there's
That's a lot.
lawsuits happening, but
Okay. Well, let's get to our next segment. So, Consuela, you missed us last week when we did our Blitz segment, so I want to go ahead and get to that now. Do you know what a Blitz is, Consuela? Football term.
Absolutely, and don't quiz me.
So you can't
I
answer the
do
question
know
for
what a blitz
everybody.
is.
Well,
You
try to
remember-
explain what it
you
is.
remember
Rich.
those
Just give us
commercials?
something.
How sure are you? I'm 99% sure. So you don't know.
It's a blitz.
Well,
It's
blitz means-
fast.
Okay, good.
I know what a blitz is. Don't do that to me.
What other football terms do you know?
I know a lot of football terms.
Give us 3.
That should be easy.
Come on, yeah, 3.
Eagle spread.
Okay, what else?
Why are you doing 3? 1 is enough.
How
Eagle
about
spread.
touchdown?
Of course, touchdown, field goal, nickel.
There you go.
Hut. Something.
I know all that
you
stuff.
could have went on 3. Hut.
Well, I don't want to say that because that's like normal.
Okay, well, the whole deal is with this one, we're doing a blitz, right? And so I did 20 questions with JT last week because you and Jada weren't on here, so I gave him a little bit longer. Since Jada isn't on here now, I'm actually going to give you 15 questions.
You
Statements.
as in Consuela T.
I'm going to be saying to you, you got to answer 15
When
questions.
you say you, are you meaning Consuela?
Yes,
15 questions.
and I'm doing 10 for JT this time. These are not these are quick answer things, so it could be what
Pizza or
nail
ice
color pizza or ice cream.
Okay.
You know, it's something simple of that nature, just a way for people to get to know you guys really quick, just a little bit of fun segment. So I will be going back and forth. JT did cheat and look at my notes, so he's already been studying. I
JT.
appreciated that.
It's just like playing cards, right? Is it cheating if you showing me your hand?
Well, that's why he came over here to try to mess with my
No,
computer.
you-
Wasn't nothing
you were
wrong with my
having
computer.
problems.
He
Oh,
just
by the
wanted
way,
to come look
JT,
at the
I
book.
beat your dad in dominoes. the
Oh
other
my
night.
gosh, here we go. Make sure we edit that part out. So, all right, y'all ready? 1 o'clock. We only got 3 minutes left in this segment. Okay, Suela, favorite type of place you want to live, city or the country?
Colorado.
City or country? In the city or in the country?
Oh, country.
Okay. The country you want to visit that you haven't?
Fiji.
Ooh, good Lord. I'm going to have to save some money for real though.
Yeah.
Okay. Jaguar or Mustang, Consuela?
Jaguar.
All right. Consuela, Asian food or Mexican food?
Mexican.
All right.
Consuela.
Consuela, best vacation spot, beach or the lake?
Beach.
JT, an iPhone or a Galaxy?
iPhone.
Consuela, favorite holiday?
Christmas.
JT, favorite country singer? See, we got to get a buzzer again.
Well, I can't even. I can't remember the dude on American Idol, whoever he is. I guess.
I don't know who you talking
How
about.
many
I think
dudes
it's
were-
Blake Shelton. I think. No.
All
I
right,
don't know.
that'll work.
Luke Bryan. I don't know.
Consuela, steak or seafood?
Seafood.
JT, Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
JT, Manchester United or Liverpool?
Ew.
That wasn't either one of the choices.
Neither. Or
All right, Consuelo, your favorite rapper?
Are you really doing this to me?
It's a blitz. You just got to answer the question.
Easy.
Oh, okay. Consuelo, a Malibu or a Mazda?
A Mazda.
All right, JT, your favorite cartoon?
SpongeBob.
Consuelo, you got a vacation preference? East Coast or West Coast?
West.
Consuelo, Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
JT, coffee or tea?
T.
JT, favorite board game?
Favorite board game? What was the last one? Does chess count?
Yes,
a
it
board game?
does.
All right.
All right. Consuelo, your favorite color?
Purple.
JT, Adele or Macintosh?
Macintosh.
Consuelo, boxing or MMA?
Boxing all the way.
Consuelo, boxing or football?
Boxing all the way.
Oh, okay. Insert skirt in there right about there. We gotta have a talk right after this. JT, favorite rapper?
MF Doom.
Ooh. Consuelo, Favorite ice cream?
Strawberry shortcake ice cream.
Did you just make that up?
I'm sure somebody's made it. It's got to be at least a
It's
Ben
my
and Jerry's
favorite.
favorite.
All right, last one. JT, better basketball, the SEC or the ACC?
Oh, the ACC. Not even close.
Good Lord. Okay.
You are not our son. SEC is the answer for everything.
Well, apparently you've never watched SEC basketball.
SEC.
Well, there we go. That was our Blitz segment. JT or Jada just gonna have to get caught up at some point in time when she's able to get back with us. You know, she is trying to get ready for her graduation in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, thereabouts.
What, is it finals week yet?
Oh Lord, final? Are they even taking finals? In college?
Yes,
Not
they're
doing
taking
anything?
finals.
Yeah, I don't know. She online, but anyway, I digress. Okay, so we need to go to the final play right now. Let's talk about the NFL jersey number rule change and what do we feel about that, right? So the NFL made this rule, basically allowed for more numbers to be given primarily to skill guys,
Which is unfair.
offensive guys, it didn't really change for the offensive linemen at all. On defense, it did change for linebackers and defensive linemen. Yeah, I think the defensive linemen, definitely defensive backs. So Tom Brady and Belichick were two of the people that kind of came out and said they didn't like the rule.
Was Tom Brady's quote a joke? I kept reading and I was like, is
not
he
going to know
serious?
who to block. And so Tom Brady was talking about saying that they may be making wrong blocks because of the number changes, and it's probably going to create problems. My first thing I thought was now you could have linebackers who are normally in 50s or something of that nature that could be in the number one, or something else. So it won't be as easy to identify.
Sure, but
Just
all
by
these
the
guys
number.
played in college.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying I agree with it.
But honestly, I feel like the NFL the game itself has been watered down. Maybe this is another way of trying to put some more suspense back into the players with the game.
Well, and I'm not even really worried about the rule. Like you said, in college, you got defensive ends wearing number 1 and linebackers wearing number 5 or whatever. So you're already we're doing it in high school. So it's going to make us.
Reggie Bush is upset.
Why?
Well, because remember he had that petition a long time ago to wear 5 and he was going to give all his jersey proceeds to some charity, and they were like, nah.
Now they are letting guys change numbers. There are some stipulations with it that if you're going to change your number outside of that thing, that you basically have to buy all of the jerseys that are in production at that point or whatever. So I guess so that the teams can save
Yeah,
money,
because as if they need to save any
with
more
that.
money.
But I don't know. I just don't give them away and do some charity stuff. They can get a write-off for it anyway. But anyway, I guess they're going to try to hit the guys with that. It'll be interesting to see how many guys change their numbers, what that's going to do for fans. Can you see, I don't know, you pick anybody that got on some number they really didn't want to have. I think about like when I was in Miami and I had to wear 23. I didn't want it at all. Couldn't even buy, out of it at that point in time. But I would have liked to wear number 13. Anyway, so here's my question, though. This is what I want to ask. Do the numbers really say anything about the person? Someone asked me on the zero.
I have a very strong opinion about that.
All right, let's hear it.
So I know you, George, have heard me say this over and over. I cannot stand to see a football player wearing the number 0
Why?
because he watched Channel 0. I just think 0 is like the ultimate number of saying that I have nothing to give, nothing to lay on. I'm worth nothing. I do not like 0.
Do you feel the same about number 1? Does that mean that person is like the
I
best?
just have a very strong feeling about 0.
Well, there won't be any zeros. Are still not for the NFL right now. Zero's not in it for the NFL. They brought it into college. I don't like it either. I just think it's crazy, but whatever.
I don't like it either, but I do understand why some players switch to zero.
Why?
You would literally be the first person to ever wear it. There is no other zero anywhere. Like your
Okay.
jersey is now who is zero? You're zero.
Yeah, but you better be good. If you're
I
wear
was going to
zero,
say
right?
then you better be doggone good to be wearing. It's kind of like the guy that's wearing the shiny cleats on the football field. You better be good.
You better be fast. Well, okay. So do numbers say anything? Think about who's your favorite old time player, JT? That's retired, not playing.
I don't know. I like Champ Bailey,
What number do you wear?
24.
Does he look like a 24 to you? Have you seen another?
I guess.
Can you see another guy? So think, and I'm saying that to say now, if you look at a new player, who would you say that you like in the NFL now?
Well, just for the sake of talking
Yes.
about it, CD Lamb.
So can you see him being in something other than 88?
Yes.
He comes in and he says, because what did he wear in college?
2.
Two. You know,
See that,
is he gonna,
when you
is
ask
he
that
gonna be
question,
the
I
guy?
think of 88 and I think of immediately, I think of the real.
Michael Irvin or
Exactly.
Dan
I think of
Bryant or somebody of that
I don't
nature.
even think of Daz. I think of Michael Irvin. No offense to Daz, but I just think of Michael Irvin, and I can't see Michael Irvin wearing anything besides 88.
So think about this from this standpoint, then we'll move on. Is speaking of CD Lamb, he could fit to that. There's going to be a ton of jerseys out there, but will he want to switch to go back to his?
I think
collegiate
there's a
number?
lot of players that would because, for whatever reason, well, one, I think like all of the 80 numbers, all those are going away. People not wearing.
They're
80
not going to
anymore.
wear no more.
The
except
only
tight
reason
ends?
the only reason there's 80s now is because they make you.
But the 88 is a popular number.
Yeah. I mean, for the Cowboys, could you name another 88? They don't
I
have
was gonna say
another
I
team?
can't think of.
But you
another
might get
88.
80, Jerry Rice and those guys. People
We said
wear 'em for
88 though.
that.
I can't think of another.
Well, I'm
88.
just thinking like you don't see any 80s in college, unless
No.
they're like the fourth string receiver and they're like, yeah, well, whatever.
Do they? Yeah, because they're all tight ends in college, 80 something.
Yeah, I mean,
typically.
some of them are, they're tight ends, but most of the receivers are trying to get in the single digits and
Yes.
like up to 19,
Yes.
and whatever number they pick is a lot of times it's something that means something to them, even if it's number 0. But I mean, and sometimes you get numbers that are just, hey, you're the freshman. This is
What do you
are.
think my favorite number would be if I was wearing a number?
I don't know what your favorite number is.
I said if I was wearing a jersey, what do you think my favorite number would be? JT, you first.
7.
George, you
I was
second.
gonna go 8.
13, dog. That was my number in basketball. 13.
Oh, you started us wearing that, huh? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying 13 would have been my number.
Before you met us, you mean?
Oh, it was us. I had that one.
I'm just saying, when you were in 10th grade,
No. I was in 7th grade. No, 9th grade. My bad. 9th grade.
she making up something.
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice for like if you got Derrick Henry's wearing 22 because 2 was his number,
Is he gonna go back?
and
to
now
2?
he has to he picked 2 2s because he had to.
He got enough money to buy all this stuff out, but there's gonna be some fans that are gonna be mad because they're gonna have to go buy new jerseys.
Would they be mad, or would their jerseys now all of a sudden be
Be
worth
worth
more
something?
because you can't buy them anymore?
If it's signed, I don't
That's
know.
a good point.
It's like, hey, you buy the retro jerseys. I mean, I don't, for the life of me, I don't understand why people buy those silver Cowboys jerseys. They've never worn them ever, so that doesn't make any sense to me. But if Derrick Henry ends up going to the Hall of Fame or something,
And you got
and
his
it's
original jersey.
15 years down the road, you're like, hey, I got his jersey when he was 22 playing for the Titans.
All right. Well, good point there. And I do want to say, as we get ready to close here, I think it was last week when you talked about the NFTs,
Yes.
non-functional tokens. I just saw on the news today that the NBA has officially done something where they got their own little NFT things. Make sure you look that up. I guess they're going to start selling stuff and making additional money off these players. So I'm really curious to be able to see what that looks like. But it's been a great show tonight. All month, next month, we got some really, really good guests coming up again. Next week, we got Judd Davis, who's coming on. He is the morning news anchor in Montgomery for WSFA Channel 12. So we're going to be talking to him, of course, about some Alabama stuff. I think he played a little bit of football. And he's just, from hometown. We started talking about Montgomery and the Gump. We got to catch up with them and see what's going on there. But all month we got a lot of people lined up. We got Mario Morris lined up. He was one of my roommates in college. Now the athletic director at Notre Dame. I'm really looking forward to that. Blaine Bishop, he's a Pro Bowler, all pro safety for the Titans. He's going to be in too. Man, we got a lot of good guests coming up even in June.
Before you close, I want to ask, because I just thought about this. I want to ask both of you a question. Mm-hmm. What is the best pizza in Tuscaloosa?
Pizza?
Hold on, here we go. So the reason I asked, and I'm glad both of you had the same reaction, is my former roommate, Glenn, sent me a tweet, and somebody had compiled a list of the best pizza joint in every Power 5 college city. And Alabama's was Chuck E. Cheese.
That's sad.
And I was like, I don't think I've ever had pizza in Tuscaloosa. So I wanted for the people who actually went to school there, I figured.
Actually, we used to eat Godfathers a lot. I don't even know if they're even still open down
We did
there.
until, remember, Papa John's came out.
Yeah, Papa John's, but there's no. I was always going to wings or ribs.
Well, and that's what I told Glenn. I was like, there's a lot of barbecue down there, but I don't.
Pizza?
I've never heard anybody talk about pizza
And Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah.
And it was funny because all these other college towns have like their local pizza shop. And Alabama, Maryland, and USC, like they were just chains. One was those two were Blaze Pizza, and Alabama's was Chuck E. Cheese. And I was like, that probably sounds about right.
That's funny. Well, hey, y'all make sure y'all visit teagstake.com, see future guests. If you were looking for memorabilia, shopping, we do sell jerseys on there. They're all framed, pictures and things as well. Make sure you look us up on social media as well. Interact with us. Thank you guys all again. And, here, get that before I forget. We look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday night. Oh, that was pretty good. That wasn't bad.
Still more camera.
ProfoundSites.com.
Subscribe to our feed at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening now. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube at Teagues Take Podcast. Remember to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the stream. Stay engaged by following us on Instagram and Twitter at Teagues Take, where you can keep up to date with news postings and other live content.